Hello, let's talk about the top k frequency element. So you are given the integer array nums and the integer k. So you have to return the k most frequency element, and you can return in any order. And in these questions, this is pretty straightforward. And for the one, it appears what 3 times, right? And then for the two, it appears like 2 times. For the three, this appears 1 time. And then for the k equal to 2, you have to return the topmost frequency element, so which is what 3 and 2 is the topmost frequency element, right? So you have to return 1 and 2. Alright, so this question is pretty straightforward. So if you want to solve this question, the bucket sort should be the easy solution. And let me start putting this. So folks, first thing, you have to have a map. So the map is going to traverse the entire nums array. So the nums array, the key is going to be what the integer, right? And then the value is going to be what the frequency. And then later on we have a bucket sort. I mean, we don't sort, but there's a bucket. Using the bucket sort idea, and then we have to, so the bucket sort is based on what? It's going to be based on the frequency. And then you can actually starting, I mean, you have to what? You have to have a bucket, so which is what? The list of what? List of array. So you have to put the integer in there, and then this is array, right? And then you put the number, the number which is the key into the what? Into the frequency array, right? This is what bucket sort, right? So I have what? So for example, the bucket sort. This is frequency 1, frequency 2, frequency 3, right? And this is, you have to include what? The frequency 0, even though we are not using this, but we have to include. And then in this index, this is index, right? And this is value for the list, right? For the list. And then for the 0, it's definitely 0. For the 1, this is going to be 3. For the 2, it's going to be 2. This is 3. For the 3, it's going to be 1. And then when you want to return a value based on the k most element, starting from the end to the front, and then you just have to traverse k times, and this is the solution. So let me start coding. So you have a hash map, and then you put integer and an integer, and map equal to what? New hash map. Alright. So now we have to traverse the nums array. Map.put, using you put the num into the map, and then you get the frequency. And if this number is not in the map, you set it default by 0, and then you add 1. And then now this is the bucket sort. Using the list integer, and then I'm going to call buckets. And then again, the size of the list should be what? Should be num.length, right? That's right. This is because you have to know there are probably unique elements inside a nums array, and then we need to be able to distinct every single one of them. Right? So the most safest way is using a num.length. But it could be shorter, but it could be num.length. And then plus 1 is based on the index 0, right? And then for key, in key, comma, the semicolon, and map.key set, right? Traverse the key. And then I'm going to just get a frequency out, map.get frequency, right? And then if what? If the bucket at frequency is actually equal to null, since we are traversing the frequency array, and then if this is null, I'm going to what? I'm going to just initialize frequency, initialize to what? To new array list. Because we are using what? The list of array, right? And then we only initialize the list of the size of list, and then we need to initialize the current index for the buckets. And then I'm just adding the val, which is what? The key, right? And this is what? The end of the bucket array. And then now we need to return a value. This is going to be a result in based on k, right? you only have size of k, and then I also have index starting 0, right? And then for I equal to what? Buckets dot length -1. There's a reason why you use -1. You're starting from the end to the beginning, right? So I equal to 0, and then I minus minus. And then also, for the index, it has to be what? Less than index has to be less than k. But in this, I'm just making sure index is less than k because at some point I'm going to traverse data. So if the bucket I equal to null, which means imagine index 0 in a bucket, this is definitely null, right? We don't actually initialize the bucket 0 to new array list, right? So this has to be null for sure. So I'm gonna skip, right? And then I'm gonna traverse the element inside the bucket sort. So bucket array, sorry. I'm traverse the element. So which is what? Like traversing the frequency array inside the current index based on the just based on the value. The unique value. And in j equal to 0, right? J less than bucket I dot size, and then j plus plus, right? And then we need to we also need to say the index is actually less than k. Alright, so now we can say result at index is equal to what? Bucket at I dot get at j, right? I need to get this element and the index plus plus, right? But in this way you can say plus plus right over here, and then this is error reading for sure. So I'm gonna just run it and see if I have any error. No, I don't. Alright, submit. Alright, so let's talk about the time and space. And this is pretty simple. This is what? This is space, right? This is space. This is space, right? And this space is all of n represents n of the nums. This is still all of n, right? And this is all of k, so definitely all of n is greater than all of k. So the space is going to be all of n. This is going to be time. This is going to be time. This is going to be time, right? This is all of n, right? Traversal nums array. This is what? All of key inside my map, which is shorter than all of n for sure. And this is what? All of what? All of n times the unique value inside the bucket array. So I would say this should be the worst, but the problem is that you have an index less than k. Only if the index is equal to k. Otherwise, like the time complexity, I would say is all of n. And this just depending on what? Depending on k. So I don't like to say it's all of n times something over here, like the dynamic value frequency, something like this. So for the time it's going to be all of n, for the space it's going to be all of n. And this is the solution, and I will see you next time. Bye.